Juror number two, the perfect example of a movie of where you need to shut your mouth. Stay tuned as we discuss Juror number two. Episode of the year. We started on time today. So we're going to be talking about Juror number two, starring, he played Beast. My brain just like Nicholas Hoult. I don't know why my brain just forgot him for a minute. But we're going to be talking about Juror number two, and then I'm going to go into the synopsis in a little bit. But thank you guys so much for your support. I can't wait to do great things in 2025. I feel like we're focused. I'm going to try to have my videos up and reloaded before the week, unless it's like a trending topic. But I am excited. So we're going to be doing movie Mondays, but today was a specialty because I have to talk about this movie, and I want you guys to talk about it with me. So the premise of the movie opens up, and we're on a trial. And the trial is for the investigation of the red rum of a young woman who was found at the bottom of a ravine. So enters Nicholas Hoult. This is also directed by Clint Eastwood. Fun fact: the woman who is not that was delived, she's actually his daughter. I don't know why I didn't make the connection, but she's actually his daughter. Very beautiful. So basically, they're in court, and basically it starts going to the juror. So juror number two is played by Nicholas Hoult. So he's an expectant father, and his wife is high risk. Okay, so come to find out, there's a background of the fact that let's talk about his background real quick. So basically he's AA anonymous. So basically he's a recovering addict for intoxication, and basically they also had several where the baby didn't come down all the way. How about that? There were several different times where that happened with them, so it's very nerve-wracking. So they go into the case. Toni Collette, which I'm not gonna hold you. I thought it was Uma Thurman, but I know Uma Thurman's a 6-foot goddess, so it's Toni Collette. But Toni Collette plays the DA. Basically, they're going against the fact that they're going with the fact that the boyfriend who they had a tumultuous relationship, and she feels like it was him because it turns out that there was an eyewitness who had it on camera. See, when I say, did you see anything? This is what I'm talking about. I need you to do. So basically she ends up where she shows on camera that it was raining, because it's always raining in cases like this. It was raining, and they had an argument, and went outside, and so she started walking on the road. She's wearing platform heels. It's important. So wearing platform heels, so she's walking on the road by herself, and he goes after her for a little bit, but then her boyfriend sees a mile marker for his niece's birth. I think it's 217, so February 17th. So he turns around, leaves her to walk by herself. And so at the same time, look who was at the Nicholas Holt's character was also at the bar that night. So he got a drink, but he didn't drink it, So it turns out he was trying to, mask his feelings from having where the baby didn't come all the way down from heaven. So he ends up leaving, and so he ends up leaving at the same time. And while he's driving, his wife texts him. He looks down for a split second, which I said, don't text and drive. He looks down for a split second, and he feels like he hit his car. He doesn't know what he hit. There's a sign that says deer crossing, so he assumes it's a deer. So he goes and looks outside his car, looks around. Of course, the eyewitness is there, because I was like, of course they're there. They see some guy coming out the car. They kind of match it description-wise. That is the boyfriend who pretty much hit her, and then she fell into the ravine over the lake. From the bridge, fell into that, and then they think that's him. So the question is that he starts getting, guilt starts eating him, and he feels like he should say something. So holes start popping up, and the DA has to look at both aspects of the case, even though she could be against the client. You have to look at, if you're a good attorney, you have to look at both sides. You have to pretty much be devil's advocate to yourself almost. So she starts noticing holes, and then he starts acting weird, suspicious, and he asks his AA/PO officer, hey, what are the chances of me getting out of this? He said, well, since you're a recovering addict, there's not anybody that wouldn't immediately throw the book at you, such as you have previous DUIs. So pretty much ends in the movie where the boyfriend gets convicted of delifing his girl. But then it shows also Toni Collette's character, who comes up, and pretty much she's waiting on the doorstep and it's kind of open-ended after that. So I give the movie a 3.75 out of 5. I feel like it was really, I still stand by he shouldn't have said nothing to anybody, including himself. But I stand by my rating. What kept it from being a 4 out of 5 is that it was unrealistic that the way they were doing the trial and how it went about so quickly. That's what kind of, because basically it was like a year to the date, almost around Halloween, that it happened, and they were able to get through it. Usually with Red Rum cases where he also got sentenced to life, by the way. Usually with cases like that, they take like at least 2-3 years, child. Like they go up and through court, so they got it done. They tied in a knot in a year. Is wild. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of the judicial system getting out of a court case that fast. I've never heard of it. Anyways, but so I give it that score. They did a good job. Like, as soon as I got into the movie, I was interested, because a lot of these movies now, like, I have more patience than the average person because I'm a movie buff, but we need to get to the plot. We need to get to it fast. That's why I like the fact that they went right into it. I love the fact that he got called for jury duty, because like sometimes life is mean. Like sometimes life is mean, because what are the chances of one getting called for jury duty? I can say myself, like, I've never been called for jury duty. And I'm 33. I've never been called. Watch, I'll get called in. But I've never been called for jury duty myself. So and even then, like, my friends that I know that have gotten called for jury duty, it's like they don't get picked. So you have to get selected. Like there's like a bushel of selections. Like, let's say there's like 40 people. Let's say there's like 40 people, right? That get called for jury duty. Only maybe 17 will get chosen. Maybe 18 will get chosen. So for you to get chosen not once but twice was wild. I thought that was pretty dope. Another pro was the fact that he said, hey, I have a high risk wife. Is there any way I can stay home, because I don't want to have no more time? The judge was like, oh, we're only going to keep you from 9 to 6, basically the same amount as a shift. And I was like, dang, like that would be the time. That was definitely a pro. I think the con was the fact that the trying time happened so quickly. I was like, all right, we wildin'. Okay, I already know if you're crazy. I think another con was the fact that you're gonna tell me as a DA officer you didn't go around checking every truck. Like I was like every truck in the vicinity, because if I was a DA and the eyewitness viewed a what was it? I think it was like let's say the eyewitness viewed a Toyota Camry. Ooh, this is the South. That's like every Haitian, baby. That's like every Haitian. But let's say they viewed the Nissan Altima. That's also very South. Let's say they said a Nissan Altima struck somebody 2007. I would go to every dealership, within the vicinity, try to see if I can pull records, because it is public knowledge, by the way, from the DMV. Like, I would do some cross-reference that way, because I'm just like, this dude is driving this car, and you think, I wonder what this is for. Like, you didn't think like one time to check this person. Like that was the only part I can say I was not buying. I was not buying that. That's the only thing I can say I wasn't buying. And then what was another pro was the fact that it really like I can say like what made me give, and I'll go into like the ethics portion at the end, but like it really made me sit there and think, like, if I was in that same predicament, what would I say? I wouldn't say nothing. That's just me. I wouldn't say anything, but it really sat there and made me think. I was like, dang, like this guy is going to be going to jail for his whole entire life, and he's an innocent man. But I have a family on the way, like I'm not saying that like my life is not worth his, or his life's not worth mine because I've chose the parental route, but it does kind of make me feel like, like it makes me feel kind of like, okay, that's not whatever. But definitely for sure, everybody acted. Omni-Man, I can't think of his name. His voice is gonna pop. Omni-Man was in there too, so he was an ex-cop, and that was another thing too that was also kind of a con. And the fact that they were like, we didn't know you were an ex-cop, I was like, I mean, the lies just keep lying. You trying to tell me they're not doing a background check? You're on a jury for Red Rum. Like, this doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't do thorough research. Like, that was the part that I was kind of like, okay. And then the runtime, I think it was 90 minutes. So you're in and out. I think you guys should definitely watch the movie. So the ethics portion that I want to talk about real quick. There's a lot of people trying to misconstrue that the world is black or white. The world will always be gray because there's too many of us here. There's too many of us here. So there's so many influences on how you make your decisions, like nature versus nurture. For example, if like, for example, when you're in a store and you're hungry and you want to eat something, you're less likely to steal because there's cameras around. Okay? You're less likely to steal because there's cameras around. Like, what would you do in a case is if you walked into a store? So if you walked into a store and there was no cameras, would you still like put your money in the till and be like, hey, I paid for this, will I go? That's where your ethics start learning. Like, it's kind of like kids, scientifically as well, kids start doing their first lie around 3 and 4. 3 and 4, terrible 2s and FU4s, right? Terrible 2s and FU4s, because 3 nature is cute. 4 nature. But usually that's when kids start learning how to lie, because they have realized what are facts and what can get them, what can distract from the truth. Like what they think of it as almost basically telling a story, right? So that's when they learn their first lie. So that's a 4-year-old. Imagine a 30, imagine a 50, imagine a 70. So like when it comes to telling lies and like being truthful, like your guilt is pretty much conditioned from your moral status. Like, for example, if you grew up, I'm speaking to myself first. So if you grew up as a people pleaser, your guilt is conditioned from always having to make somebody else happy, always trying to make somebody's, putting their emotions before yours, compared to like, once you start taking time for yourself, once you stop being start being selfish, you feel this level of guilt. Or at least I did at first when I stopped being people pleaser, but you feel this level of guilt because you've been conditioned your whole life. I'm supposed to be putting other people first. I'm supposed to be making sure that everybody else feels good. It doesn't matter to me. So for example, like with this whole story, no offense, but basically the ethics in this case was the fact of whether or not he should say something with this person going to jail for the rest of their life. But my thing too is just that, no offense, but what type of life would his future kid, I think it's a girl. Is it a girl? I don't know. What type of life would his future daughter have? That's the main question. Like, what type of life would she have? Because now you're going to be an ex-con. So even if you were to get out, which you wouldn't, because you would go to life because you have 2 DUIs on your record. What life would your kid have? So now this kid's going to grow up without a father, and she's going to go ahead and, no offense, marry a type of boyfriend, or be with a type of boyfriend that the woman who unfortunately was delifed would be with. So this is now cyclical in nature. Okay. So when I sit there and say I wouldn't say nothing, that wasn't me saying, oh, I don't care about this dude going to jail for life. I'm not saying that, but it's just like, sometimes you have to put yourself first. Like, for example, let's say you're really hungry today, but you're like, okay, I want to put other people first. Like, you're going to walk around hungry because you're not putting yourself first. You're not putting your livelihood first. Like, for example, even with your body, fun factoid, if you guys want to nerd out with me, did you know that your body will save itself? Don't test this. But did you know that your body will save yourself? So if, let's say you're choking, you stop breathing, your body has a restart. Like, if your body has a natural saving mechanism, like, I don't know why psychologically we just can't get past it. If your body has an innate self to save itself, okay? Like, I don't know why. I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that. Sometimes it's not selfish, it's you looking out for yourself. It's you looking out for yourself, because let's say, for example, like I said, the end of the movie, we're just staring at Toni Collette and we're like, hi girl, but like, let's say towards the end of the movie, let's say at the end of the movie, it showed that he actually spoke up and said, hey, don't send that man to jail, And let's say in 2 years, this guy who's a boyfriend, let's say he starts dating a woman again, and he's toxic to this person again. But yet no offense, like, you're at home, you're away from your kid, and now they have to grow up without a father. So I mean, you guys can argue with me in the comments if you would disagree or agree. So if you had it where you had to confess that you had to do a confession that could possibly lead you to having no freedom, would you say it? Or would you say someone who we have society has determined as unlaw abiding a citizen, would you think that they deserve to go in jail instead? So I'm going to subscribe, share. It's Claire here.